What if I told you that someone actually managed to fly internationally without a passport, without a ticket, and without any form of identification whatsoever? It sounds completely insane. It sounds like something out of a movie, but it's not. This happened to a man named Sergey Vladimirovich. In November of 2023, he flew from Copenhagen Airport to Los Angeles International Airport, and when he landed, he was arrested because he couldn't provide any documentation. Like I said, this isn't a movie, but it sure does sound like a plotline straight out of Mission Impossible or something similar. Let me explain what happened. It all started on November 2023 when passengers were boarding a Scandinavian Airlines flight from Copenhagen Airport to Los Angeles International Airport. As they were boarding, footage revealed that Sergey was among them. However, it turns out that he did not have a ticket. He also did not have a passport, but he managed to sneak onto the plane unnoticed. He ended up sitting down and relaxing like he was supposed to be there, which means he must have been quite confident that he would make it to the end of the journey. He certainly made it through the first leg of the trip, and he looked pretty calm and cool as he did so. But here's where things get weird. You see, Sergey had 2 Russian Federation passports and an Israeli ID card, but he had no proof that he was a citizen of either country. Moreover, when investigators looked into the matter further, they discovered that he hadn't even booked a ticket for the flight. The FBI said that he did not appear on the manifest, which is the official document listing the passengers on board. Basically, he was a ghost passenger who appeared out of nowhere. He certainly attracted some attention from the flight crew who thought it was strange that he kept moving around the cabin and switching seats. However, they didn't think much of it and didn't report his behavior. After all, they didn't suspect that he was a stowaway and didn't have permission to be on the flight. That's why he was able to keep changing seats until finally he was told to stay put. By the time the plane touched down at LAX, he had eaten several meals and hung around the business class section of the plane. So he clearly felt comfortable enough to behave however he wanted to. When the plane arrived in LA, the pilot contacted ground personnel to inform them that a stowaway was on board. This caused a stir because, well, how does that happen? And how do you deal with such a situation? But before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates. As soon as the plane came to a halt, police officers rushed to the aircraft to find and arrest the stowaway. Now that it was on solid ground, Sergey was taken off the plane and brought into custody. Officials realized that they had a major problem on their hands because they had no idea who this man was or what his intentions were. Of course, they immediately checked his baggage and belongings, but it didn't help them figure out who he was. His suitcase contained a sleeping bag, clothes, food, a laptop, and a mobile phone. But upon examination, the phone proved to be password protected, and it offered no useful information. It did, however, reveal that he had taken photos of the departure airport, which was Copenhagen Airport, but there were no pictures of himself on the flight. Strangely, they also found a picture of a departure screen at Copenhagen Airport, but nothing else. It's almost as if someone wanted to leave absolutely no trace of their presence on the flight. The authorities couldn't figure out how he got onto the plane or even confirm his identity. They weren't even sure what his nationality was or whether he was traveling alone. It was only later that they found out his name and that he was a Russian national. In a statement, the Transportation Security Administration said that its officers and those of their partner agencies take pride in performing an extremely thorough job to ensure the safety of the traveling public. They stated that they will continue to aggressively pursue investigations while working with the airlines to identify and apprehend individuals who attempt to evade detection and illegally enter the United States. They didn't say anything about how he managed to slip through security and board the plane unnoticed, which is really mind-boggling. Sergey was initially charged with 1 count of unlawful entry into the United States, punishable by up to $200,000 in fines and up to 25 years in prison. Later on, he faced additional charges for evading customs inspection. The investigation into how he managed to sneak onto the plane was handed over to the FBI, and they were stumped. They've now concluded that it was most likely an inside job, meaning that somebody helped him to get onto the plane. But nobody has come forward with any concrete evidence or proof. The FBI spokesman Laura Imler commented, "We believe that the defendant would not have been able to board the aircraft without the assistance of others." After the case went viral, many people came forward with theories as to how he managed to escape detection. Most suggest that he posed as a legitimate passenger, walking through security right behind someone who had a ticket and was scanned at the entrance. It's easy to imagine how this could have happened. Airports are busy places, and security personnel are often focused on suspicious individuals rather than checking every single person. So it's quite plausible that Sergey took advantage of a distracted security guard or an innocent passenger and slipped through the net. Others believe that Sergey knew someone who worked at the airport and helped him to avoid security. This is also feasible since people who work at airports often have access to restricted areas and could easily help someone to sneak onto a plane. But so far, no one knows for sure how he managed to pull off such a daring stunt. In March 2024, Sergey finally pleaded guilty to the charges against him. He admitted to intentionally hiding from immigration officers and trying to evade them when he arrived in the US. But he still maintains that he bought a ticket for the flight, and he doesn't know how he ended up in American custody. Although his fate remains uncertain, he faces significant penalties, including substantial fines and lengthy imprisonment. Sergey's actions have shocked the nation and raised concerns about the effectiveness of airport security measures. The FBI is now investigating whether he had accomplices who assisted him in bypassing security checks. They're also trying to determine his motive for attempting to enter the U.S. illegally. This case has shed light on potential vulnerabilities in airport security. Protocols and authorities are taking steps to enhance screening procedures and identify any lapses that allowed Sergey to board the flight undetected. The incident has sparked widespread debate and calls for increased vigilance and stricter measures to prevent unauthorized individuals from entering the United States. So what do you think? How do you think he managed to sneak onto the plane? And what do you think his motives were? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. After hearing about the incredible journey of Sergey Vladimirovich Ochigava, one can't help but wonder about the flaws in our seemingly robust security systems. The ease with which he managed to board an international flight without proper documentation raises concerns about the effectiveness of our border security measures. It also brings into question the need for stringent background checks and identity verification for those who work in the aviation industry. The fact that airport staff and flight crew failed to notice Sergey's absence from the manifest or questioned his behavior on board highlights the importance of training and vigilance. It underscores the need for individuals working in the aviation sector to be on the lookout for suspicious activities and to follow established protocols to ensure the safety and security of flights. Moreover, this incident exposes the potential risks associated with over-reliance on technology. While advanced screening technologies are crucial for border security, they should not be seen as a panacea. Human oversight and critical thinking remain vital in identifying potential threats and preventing security breaches. The audacity of Sergey's actions and his apparent lack of remorse raise questions about his motivations and mental state. Understanding the motives of individuals who attempt to breach security is crucial for developing effective preventive measures.